Hi there. Happy Friday. I'm hoping you've had a good week. It's been very busy this week, hasn't it? It feels like cramming 3 whole days into one day. Fun stuff, but still rather active. So I'm actually impressed I made it at 2:35-ish. So we're sitting right at 2:38, somewhere in that area. Pretty good, 3 minutes. So this week, I am taking more of a specific area, and that's where questioning you in, are you wishing or are you creating some goals or accomplishment points in your life? So not a big secret that in coaching you set up um, steps that you would like to take or improvements that you would like to make in your life, um, or understanding that you'd like to have about yourself, and you set these as a kind of a beacon, right, of where you aspire to be. Now, in the coaching that practice that I do, is I take into consideration where your soul level wants to be, even if you're not aware that it's talking to you, and where your human self is, and then how do we enhance it? How do we make them work together? How do we create a collaborative system? And when I was thinking about this in the last couple of weeks, of becoming a bit more proactive in that, and in my client relationships, in that asking, what is it do you want to create? Like, where do you want to be? Getting some concrete examples down. And then I'm still not going to check homework, and I'm still not going to follow you around, because we are adults and I trust that you can handle it. But I realize just how good that feels in my own life to have some kind of metric of where I'd like to be. And sometimes it's even in the not achieving it in the time frame that I feel like I could have achieved it. There's some learning how to be in grace around that as well. So I wanted to talk about whether you're living in a wishful state, or in a place that has action to it. So are you pipe dreaming? Like, are you just saying, well, I would love to have this, or I'd love to be making that money, or be in that state physically? A lot of the time we throw out those projections and those intentions, but we don't actually follow up on it. And in the past, I've had to dial back my own questioning of, you haven't done it yet? What the hell are you waiting for? Chop, chop. And become more appreciative of the process, and more accepting of where each person's abilities or qualities lie. And yet I still find myself in this space of, if you are just telling me what you would like to create, and you're just telling me a story of what you'd like to create, but I don't hear that you cleared a box out of the basement, or that you sent an email to someone, I don't believe that you're actually in an action space, and I don't feel like you're truly setting goals. What you're doing is setting an aspiration, maybe creating a wishful state, in that maybe it'll just show up on its own on the front porch and say, here I am, your amazing career that you would like to have. Hi, ladies. And I can be patient, but sometimes we all need a good kick in the arse, as Caroline would say to me, and to get our buns moving. And then it feels good to have that. Might leave a little mark, but you'll be all right. So if you're thinking about where you are right now, and something that you would like to have in your life, and what have you been telling people that you'd like to create? What have you been wanting to shift in your life that has simply been like lip service because you're not taking any action points on that. So if you take that and just speak it and say, this is, what I'd like to accomplish for me, it has to do with, working in that larger platform because we know I love a stage, and to impact more people to really care about themselves and to realize that they are pretty amazing and then see what they have to offer. I do feel this push to be in more than the one-on-one environment. So I've taken steps, and they're the behind the scenes, so stuff will be coming. Keep your eyes open. And put like kind of where my money where my mouth is, to use the old expression, and literally by hiring a team to do this. But actually stepping up and doing the behind the scenes work that requires that, rather than waiting for someone to come along and say, wow, you're so amazing, let me, give you this workshop space, which would be great. I will take it, and I will absolutely live up to that if anybody's out there wanting to do that. So never pass up an opportunity. So if you find yourself that you're able to speak it, right, you can talk about it all day long, but your butt isn't moving and you're not making the contacts or the next step in the protocol got an accent there all of a sudden, then you need to look at what limiting belief systems are there. What is it that you believe? In this case would be that it's not possible that it could come to fruition. And that could be that you believe it would be a ton of work. And that could be true. I mean, there's got to be some effort. But maybe there are people who already know how to do the next couple steps, and you simply need to reach out and interview them and see if you're a good fit. Do not settle. Do not settle with someone who does not feel like a good fit and who can't hear your message, because it will only distract you from whatever you're wanting to create. So if you have someone in your life who's really good at brainstorming, or pulling the ideas out of you, then set up a meeting with them, have a brainstorming session, pay for dinner and cover it then, order in and put up the big, whiteboards and things like that, where you can be in a space of cultivation and creating the brilliance that I know you have in you, but maybe you don't know you have in there. But please, please, please choose someone who has no agenda in whatever you create. They simply want to be there because they're interested and they ask great questions. My friend Kelly is amazing at this. She asks questions that I only wish I had a third of her skill set, because she's able to dive in and get the answers or the response. I know it's because she truly cares, but she makes me think about things that I never even considered. And then I laugh like fools. And then I act on them, because if you're going to have that brilliance in your circle, you may as well take advantage of it. So hopefully it's a reciprocal relationship. So make sure you have someone who doesn't have an agenda, someone who simply wants you to feel lined up with yourself. And if it's, macrame lawn ornaments you want to make, like, they might not want them and they may not know how to do it, but if you believe in it, then roll with it. The limiting belief systems that are there will stay there until you do something about them, until you meet them eye to eye and you say, I see you there, you cute little bugger. How about you move on out? And you do some repatterning, or you do some EMDR, or you process it when you're running or something. That cross action helps the brain. So you talk it out with your therapist, whatever the case may be. But you address them, you look at them, and then you create the next step on your plate, right? On your plan. On your plate? Well, if you want to cook, maybe it's on your plate. taking and moving through things that scare you actually help to reinforce your belief in yourself, because if it scared you and you faced it, you now know you can handle it and you didn't go poof. You will continue to up your game a little bit. And then that is how goals get met. That's how those accomplishment points are achieved, because you didn't bail on it and you didn't, croak with this idea that you always wanted to do something, but you never took the chance to, or you never experienced it. So if there's a lack of belief in yourself or what you're wanting to do, maybe you just need to firm up your skill sets in those areas. So if you want to perform and you want to do an open mic night, practice before you actually get up there. Just because it's an open mic night doesn't mean you show up without having addressed or presented in practice what you're wanting to share with your lucky audience. Putting the effort in. I mean, don't you find that the things that you've put the most effort in and you've worked the hardest at, that you feel the greatest joy afterwards? Like, you feel so proud of yourself. And hey, Amy, long time no see. And absolutely, Karen, the praying with appreciation, the appreciation of yourself, the appreciation that you even had an idea. How about we start there? But if there's, and you can also appreciate the fact that you've already accomplished things. Like, so far, you've heard me say this before, that so far you have 100% success rate of showing up every day, because hey, there you are. So if the lack of belief is in whatever the item is, there's Dr. Google. You can look stuff up. You can ask for the mentors or someone who may know about what you're talking about. You could do the research, reinforce that belief that you can do whatever it is that you've come up with. Because I really believe that if we come up with the idea, we have all the brilliance to follow it through and to maintain it. But do you have the tenacity? Do you have the backbone to actually be there and to follow through on things? It doesn't have to be a sprint. You can absolutely take your time. So it's important when you're setting an accomplishment goal that you also feel into it, and does whatever you're talking about, does it light you up? Do you get excited about it? In my meeting I had yesterday, John pointed out that when somebody asks me a question about any of this stuff, I just light up. And yes, I like to talk, but I get excited about the fact that other people might meet themselves and love themselves, and then it'll go out exponentially, and we don't all have to get fat heads around it. We can still contribute. But wouldn't it be so amazing to have all these friends who believe in themselves, and we're not solving deficit problems, we're enhancing and enhancing and enhancing. So find what lights you up. And not every part of the process is going to flipping light you up. Don't be delusional about it. You can set an intention of what you would like to accomplish, but have some reality in there that it could be difficult. I've set a pretty good goal of myself that for my 50th birthday, which is next year, that I will run a 50K. And I know that's gonna hurt. But I also know I can do it. But I have to set the plan in place in order to get there, right? So it's not about being all wooey and we can absolutely accomplish everything that we dream of. No, we're not going to. Be realistic. But if you never start, you'll never get there. So consider this your kick in your buns to speak of whatever you'd like to create, and then take one small step to get there. Um, if you break it down in, can you tell I have notes today? If you break it down into bite-sized pieces, you will be accomplishing as you go, and it kind of tricks that critic in the brain that says you can't do something. And before you know it, you've already done it. It's like if you've ever helped a kid to learn how to ride a two-wheeler, right? You don't tell them you're letting go because they'll freak out, they'll tense up. So you just let go and you can feel they have the balance, and then you let them know that they've done it and how exciting is that, and aren't they amazing? It's the same premise, right? You almost have to trick yourself into that belief until it becomes something that's so solid that even if you haven't done a 50K before, you know that you have a half marathon this weekend and all you have to do is put together 2.5 of those and you're good to go, or 2 and a little bit, not even 2.5. See, I'm already more than halfway there. So setting those bite-sized pieces up and having a plan is how you get to those accomplishment points. You don't buy a house if you haven't become good at paying your bills and getting that credit score up there and having an income that can possibly cover it and having some practice. These steps are important because, crawl before you run, that kind of thing. So what is it that you want to do, but you may be getting caught up in what seems tedious or what seems boring? Because there are going to be some spaces, but if you can hold on to the energy of how it will feel, like actually take some time, visualize, put yourself in that space of, what do I feel like it will be like to feel this thing in accomplishment and to say, I did that, I rocked that, and I may have had to, hang left, hang right in order to do it, but I absolutely made it through. If you stay in the wish stage, you're going to get disillusioned with yourself. You're going to get upset. You can put the blinders on, but I have yet to meet anybody who was ignoring a certain part of themselves that was living a full, happy life. And the intention is to, in the overall concept of it, to actually do that, right? To feel like you had a good run of it while you were here. And if you stay in that wish space and you expect other people to deliver, you will never feel that joy within self of your soul connection, of how amazing you feel, of how amazing you are, and that you feel. And then my rule with that is, don't complain to me. Don't tell me you can tell me you didn't get to something. You can tell me that you're having an issue addressing that next level of education, or of asking somebody out, learning to cook, whatever it is. Great, we can work there. But don't tell me that you didn't do it because you couldn't, or something scared you about it. Because that's you listening to your excuses, and that's probably you listening to the peanut gallery of other people telling you it's not possible. But we have so many inventions, and we have so many examples in our amazing universe of people who were told that they couldn't do something and then they did it. You have that same wiring. If you're choosing not to use it, that is on you. And therefore, the complaint department is closed. Leave a message at the beep. And if you want to support the people in your life, hold that space too, that they're absolutely capable of riding that two-wheel bike. They need to actually get on the bike in order to do it. So this week, let's call this the week of truthfulness with yourself. That find something in your world, in your heart of hearts, that you want to do. You do not need to announce it. But you do need to write it down, and you do need to get it concrete in this world somehow. And then what is the next step that you need to take? Okay. If you get stuck, give me a call, shoot me an email, set up an appointment. I'm really good at the next step stuff. And then follow that with yet another step. Because once you start really feeling and experiencing coming out of the wish department into the fulfillment place, it's kind of like Santa's workshop. When you come out of the wish and you move into the fulfillment, that you actually are full. You're full of life. Might be full of yourself, but it's a supportive way of being full of yourself. And then you'll see the results. It has to show up. It's energy. It has to respond. So if something isn't working in your life, you need to look at your own alignment. So, all right. I hope you have had a fantastic week and that something here has helped and maybe sparked within you. Take that energy into whatever it is that you'd like to be working on, and do some wishing. Absolutely do some daydreaming, but then follow it up, because you can't eat wishes. No calories, no sustenance there. And eventually they go bad and it feels crappy. So I wish you well. If I can help, you know where to find me. And hey, Deb, and take care.